3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome back to the Game Domain News DomainCast. This is Jake. I got Greg with me here.
Howdy.
And we are going to be talking about the sweeping new up-and-coming game, Radical Heights, a battle royale style game by the makers, well, Cliffy B basically. And Greg, is it Battle Key?
Bosskey Productions.
Thank you. And what was the game they just made that kind of flopped?
Oh, it's okay. You don't need to be polite about this one. This one completely flopped. It tanked. It blew up. It's gone. Lawbreakers, which was supposed to be the big breakout hit into the first-person shooter arena market that harkened back to the days of Unreal Tournament. Was supposed to launch it free to play. Last minute, the publisher decided to make them charge $30 a pop. The game flopped. I'm not even going to mince words. It just flopped, unfortunately.
Okay. And see, I know it must have flopped because I've heard the name before, but I didn't know that that's what it was because, you know me, I loved Unreal Tournament.
Hey,
so,
audience, are you ready for another
on to today's
exciting
subject,
round of
Radical Heights.
We
played it a little bit. I think you played it a little bit more, but I thought today we'd share our thoughts on it because I think a lot of people justifiably had their concerns about it.
Oh, I was one of them. I'll be no stranger to the fact I was not super impressed by the idea of another battle royale game in this overcrowded market.
Correct. And where am I? Oh, I died.
Game over, man. Game over. Here's a look at what you're
I didn't even see
taking home
the
today.
launch. Okay, so first things first. Yes, there are still some things to be ironed out. It's still in. I don't even know if I saw that corner here, but there was a. It does say extremely early access.
Correct.
Yes. So, yes, we both justifiably had our concerns, as did a lot of people, but we've been pleasantly surprised. And I guess one of my favorite things so far is like how much character the game has. It's clearly, I mean, just the theme of the '80s is painted through it. The music, the colors, the terms. Radical Heights, extreme early access, all that kind of stuff. What are your first thoughts after the few times we've played it?
The only reason I honestly even gave this a shot was because I had the '80s theme, and I thought that was kind of a funny idea. Haha, you got battle royale with like the radical '80s and all that stuff. And after I started playing it, I didn't really know what to expect. I just expected, kind of a PUBG clone, Fortnite clone, whatever you want to call it. And it's kind of actually a nice little fusion of both. I mean. Unfortunately, that first round, when I died promptly 15 seconds into the match, didn't really get to show a lot of the fun, but the game is a lot more fast-paced. There's a lot less kind of standing around waiting. I mean, it has some moments where you can definitely scavenge and hunt like in PUBG, but it's a lot more arcadey, like Fortnite. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It would seem to be a good mix of both of the games, and that's kind of what the kind of game I'm looking for anyway. I want to have a good mix. I don't want to have I don't mind the super realistic approach as PUBG, but I also don't really like the super, bullet spongy, no guns really have much impact in Fortnite. And this kind of seems to do a fine balancing act between the two.
Well, that's my sliding scale of Overwatch to like DayZ. PUBG's closer to DayZ. This is closer to Overwatch, but it's still, like you said, it's paced well. But it's not so slow that you spend 45 minutes just to get shot in the back by somebody when the circle gets small. Little things like the warm-up room here is very extreme sports. Like the character shines through. It's very colorful. It kind of has character that reminds me of like Team Fortress 2 almost. Like, not the same kind at all. That's kind of more like World War II propaganda style.
But it's cartoony. It feels like it's maybe out of a comic book style thing.
Yeah.
Well, let's aim for the top of this parking garage over here, or the apartment complex.
Yeah. Oh, which one? I'm coming for you. So yeah, first thing. First big difference, no
fall damage.
Parachutes, because it's so extreme that we just like tuck and roll right under the roof from the sky.
That's right. With nothing but our flowing locks and our neon colors, we can just bounce off pavement.
Right. And so things we talked about, like obviously there's not a lot finished yet.
Yeah, you'll notice untextured walls everywhere. I mean. The game doesn't particularly run at the best. I mean, I'm running pretty decent setup here. Not the most current gaming rig by any means, but it's decent. And I still have some stutters and there's some weird pauses, and the game doesn't quite run exactly the way it should. I mean, it is early access, and they make no attempt to hide that. But
Bones about it.
yeah, I mean, again, look, right now I'm running inside of a untextured apartment building. Again, eventually I'm sure it'll be textured, but as of right now, it's just, this is it. This is all we got here.
Well, and that's, I mean, like, so when we're in that suburb area, there's the area where, like, one house was just immaculately filled out. There's books on the bookshelves. There's, like, little knickknacks in the kitchen. And then you go to the next house and it's just frames. It's like, oh, okay. Like, it's cool to see where it's, or imagine what it's going to look like. And right now it's just this one map, but it's not even, like, disappointing. There's still plenty to explore. The grocery store is my favorite for anybody looking for a place to go.
Well, if you're looking for some action, head on down to the grocery store. Hot take
Oh,
right here.
it's my favorite place. Always good weapons, always a good shootout going on. Plenty of places to hide if you're like me and you just like kind of let people take care of each other. Ooh, weapon slots, all the weapon slots. Sorry. What, you know, I know you said like this is one game that you might actually be interested in contributing to being the founder. What snags your interest?
The biggest thing for me was the fact that, well, one, it's a free-to-play game. I was able to play the game without having to invest any money into it, which is a big plus for me, especially in a kind of oversaturated market. I was a little skeptical. I mean, you know, PUBG still costs, what, $30, $40 to get in. Fortnite is free, which that's a good, you know, great way to get people interested as well. But at this point, if you already have a competitor that's doing that much better, you know, but with a free-to-play, you really can't do anything but go free-to-play yourself. And so I tried it out, you know, I enjoyed what I saw. It's still rough around the edges, but I like the core gameplay, I like the way the guns feel, and after that, I mean, the rest of it was kind of like, all right, I'll put some money behind it.
Okay.
Also,
Yeah, and for me,
your poor character just passed away on my screen.
I think my game crashed, honestly, which is
Oh,
great
okay.
for this podcast. Good production quality.
Yeah. You know, it's a very realistic portrayal of this game. I mean, we're not, there's no mincing words here. This is a very early access game. I mean, if you're looking for super polished and you don't mind, you know, if you don't want to have your game crash on you and have weird hiccups and that stuff, I mean, I'd say wait. The game's still free to play. It's from what I understand, they're not going to make you pay any money for it. All of the in-game unlocks are completely cosmetic. You can either pay with real money or you can grind out in-game currency, but either way, the big push in this game is that you will never have to spend money to have an advantage against other players. Now, that's currently right now. The game could change before final release if it ever does get released, but that's their mantra right now, and they're sticking to it so far. They've already released one patch, I think 1 week into the game's life, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I was hoping to try it out, but my computer's not cooperating. I hear there is a melee button now.
You know, I saw that. I didn't even look up what the button was. I mean, I know I could punch people to death with my fists. Oh, but other than that, I didn't know there was another option. I have
It
so
would have
many
come in handy
choices
when I
now.
ran out of ammo.
I know I just heard some gunfire. We're gonna show a little action, hopefully.
My guy
Potentially
died,
me
right?
shooting someone. Most likely
like
me getting shot. Directional audio is a little better than it was originally. They patched some of the issues. It's still not perfect, but I can kind of get a good idea of where general firefights are coming from, which is, you know, generally favorable when you play a game like this. Well, I guess one of the minor things for me that I appreciated in this game versus the competitors, there is bullet trace, so you can actually see where bullets are coming from.
Yes, that
So
was
y-
one thing that we
Yeah.
talked about last week. Like, what a difference it makes for people like us, as, you know, hardcore,
Here's
ultra
a
realistic.
look at
I mean, like,
what you're
I like
taking
PUBG
home
for the
today.
realism and the. I mean, hey, 3 bullets from an AR-15, you're dead. Like, that's a fact.
Correct.
But when you're playing a game, you know, you still die fairly quickly in this one. But at least, like, we've survived some firefights, which for us is pretty uncommon.
Oh yeah, and as I just saw there, I mean, we were playing duos, and there was 2 people on a team. They don't have squads implemented yet. Again, you can revive someone after they're knocked down. I got ran around by another player and shotgunned to death, which, you know, not much coming back from that one. But again, you can survive a couple shots. I mean, it's a little more forgiving than some of PUBG, and it's not as much. I mean, you can still snipe, but at the same time, there's other options. You can dodge roll, which is probably the biggest change. I mean, you're not invincible while you roll out of the way, but it does make yourself a lot harder to hit. So it's definitely much needed kind of tool. If you all of a sudden you find yourself getting a couple of shots in your general direction, best advice for me so far has just been duck and roll. I mean, worst case, someone will still try to keep shooting you, but you're not going to make it easy for them.
Right. And I mean, I like the athletic kind of kinetic style of this game. Like you can dive, you can jump on a trampoline, you can, well, like my little trick is to run and sprint off a roof and then do the dive technique so you're on the next roof over.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like it's a very relatively gymnastic game compared to PUBG.
Oh, very much so. There's a lot more emphasis on player movement and less about like player placement or standing in the right area to get the most effect. I guess PUBG is much more of a, you got to know the map and you have to know exactly the best places to like observe other players, hope you have a scope, this and that. This game, it's a little, I don't know, there's a little mix of play styles. I mean, if you want to camp and snipe someone, if you find the right area of the map, you can do it. You're going to be guaranteed to be the winner? No, definitely not, because the game gets kind of unpredictable in how it collapses and how they're going to make you react to different events. I mean, we unfortunately haven't seen any of the fun in-game events where halfway through the match they'll start telling you that a prize wheel is being dropped or that the cash drops are coming down out of the sky. And again, you can choose to go there and partake in the prize and get some money to bring home with you. Otherwise, you can choose to run away and stand back and take out people as they approach it. There's a couple different strategies to it, which I don't know. Even speaking of that, even the in-game currency, that's the only thing that persists between matches. I mean, you have to keep your cosmetic, your outfits and everything, but when you pick up money in game, you lose a little bit on death. You can also choose to deposit it into an offshore ATM bank. Yeah. And that money then it can be used to purchase cosmetics, which I'll kind of showcase here real quick. The ones that you have to find a schematic in game first, and then you can purchase it for the in-game currency, or at any time you can purchase items for real-life gems. I've already purchased the Founders Pack, which gives you 1250 gems and a bunch of radical skins, I guess you could call them. I know. Again, it's kind of a neat little thing. It's $15. Obviously, you definitely don't need to buy it. I mean, if you love wearing neon colors and gaudy styles from the 80s, this may be an instant day one purchase for you. Otherwise, if you're on the fence, I'd say try it out, see what you think, and go from there. I mean, again, the worst thing you'll lose is a little bit of your data that you just downloaded and a little bit of your time. But I don't know. I was very pleasantly surprised for a game that I went in expecting to be just another clone of the Battle Royale franchise, or like a series that exists now.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we framed a lot of it and how it's different from PUBG, and we should clarify, we don't hate PUBG either. We played it. In fact, this is the third new DomainCast. The second one that should have been out last week, we're still working on, but in that one, we're playing PUBG.
Correct.
So, but the takeaway is that this seems to be more casual. It's got a more of a lighthearted, cartoony feel kind of theme. It's very early, so I was looking at like the things that we already enjoy about it and wondering what they'll keep, what they'll do more of. Like, will there be more game show aspects? Who knows? How do I phrase this? What would do you have a feel of where you'd like to see it go next?
Honestly, at this point, just I'd say polishing it up. I mean, the beauty and the curse of Battle Royale games is, I mean, if you have the core gameplay there, all it's going to take at this point is just adding polish to it, adding a little more content, finishing up the city, possibly doing some balancing with weapons. I mean, they've already started doing a little bit of that, and just, I guess, add more cosmetics, add more mini games, add more, modes of transportations. I mean, eventually, maybe add another map, maybe add on to some of the boring parts of this map. I mean, there's I don't know, that's the beauty of a game like this. If there's players that are supporting it and they see a future financially for it, they're going to keep adding content to it. I mean, it's just like any other business. If you choose to give them your time investment or your money investment, they're going to only run with it and keep making things better. If you don't like it, well, then the game will stop and the world will lose a game, and I guess there's still plenty of other options out there. So really no net loss. I was initially going into this thinking I'd be laughing at how terrible it was and just laughing how it's going to fail, and now I feel like if it does ever fail, I'll actually be having a little bit of regret because I didn't expect to enjoy it so much.
Yeah, and that's I'm trying to remember, somebody on the Rooster Teeth podcast was talking about how I was surprised to hear, I thought we were the only ones who maybe felt that way, but he had almost identically the same kind of thought process. Like, well, we don't really need another one of these. What are they going to do different? How can it be interesting at all? And even as unpolished as it is right now, which I still can't get back in. It's totally locked up. It's really good and unique, and it's enjoyable, especially with friends. Obviously, a lot of these games are better with friends. I was trying to think. Oh, when I was looking at like kind of the elements that I see in it now, and like I said, more modes of transportation. One thing that comes through in the game for me is like I watched a lot of really bad '80s movies.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of them involved like bad sports movies, or skiing to save the rec center and winning. There's one about rollerblading. Oh, I can't remember now. It's like some kid, he beats the high school bully in a rollerblading contest, and it's like I just could see that becoming more of a, well, you can't find a bike, you have rollerblades, or you have to ski down a hill or something. I could see all that fitting totally in this game, because that's what it feels like when I'm like biking around. I think about like how the extreme sports became a thing in the late 80s going into the 90s.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I think the sky's the limit. And hopefully they have better luck than they did with help me again.
Oh,
what was the game?
Lawbreakers.
Thank you. See, I don't even know. Hopefully they have better luck than Lawbreakers.
Yeah, so far it seems like it's already off to a better start. Lawbreakers met with some pretty rocky reception. Again, you're going to see some pretty interesting reviews on this game already. People going in saying it's a crappier version of PUBG, it's a buggier version of Fortnite. And you know what? They're not wrong. I mean, this is a battle royale game that's in a far more unpolished state, but at the same time, if you know what you're getting into, and you like what you
Hey,
see,
audience, are you ready
give it
for
the old
another
polished stride.
exciting round of America's number one
And I know we
game
intended this to be kind of a
show?
quicker one-off thing.
Then let's get this thing
But I have
started.
how do you feel about Cliffy B leaving the Fortnite team kind of midway to go and go and work on this?
Oh no, Cliffy B was actually, he's been not part of Epic Games for several years now. He's been gone for...
Or did he leave to do Lawbreakers and then went to do
Yeah,
this?
he left for Lawbreakers quite a while back, and he wanted to go his own way. He didn't like the direction Epic was going with a lot of their microtransactions, so he decided to branch out.
Mistaken my timeline here.
But I think you're correct though. I think he still left for that reason. They were probably working on Fortnite at the time, and there was probably some internal discussion about how they were going to monetize the game. And I did hear some stories that he was not happy with the direction the games were going, and he left the company for that reason. I mean, again, it's got to give some respect to someone that sticks to their guns. If they don't like the way financially a company is going, you got to speak with their wallet. In this case, they got to speak with their game design.
Right. Huh. All right. Well, I guess finishing thoughts. I would say I really enjoyed it, and I'm surprised how much I enjoy it. Again, I'm not a very hardcore battle royale player, so whereas I enjoy PUBG, it does end up being a bit more frustrating. It's a bit of a longer match, whereas so far at least what I've seen is Radical Heights can be a little faster match and a little bit more high speed, a little more colorful, entertaining, crazy stuff happens, and I really enjoy it. Greg, do you have any final thoughts?
No, that pretty much sums it up. It's a fun little time diversion, and again, I'll be watching this game very earnestly. Obviously, if you're on, you can hop online and shoot some neon 80s dudes with me. Soon to be dudettes. I think the next patch they're rumored to finally release some female character models, so you can diversity in there as well.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Well, for this week, the DomainCast, I'm Jake. This is Greg, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.